Facepalm America. I'm Beowulf Rockland. FacepalmAmerica.com is, as always, where you can go for more information about the show, to listen to past episodes, and connect with us on social media, find out all sorts of good stuff if you would like to do that. It is cruising, at least in my neck of the woods, towards a very lovely beginning of spring. It feels fantastic, and in that spirit of joy and renewal, let us welcome, as we do each week, back to the program, Susanne Posel, the host of This Week Again. How's it going, Susanne?
It's going pretty well. How about you?
Doing really, really well. I don't know about where you are, but in my neck of the woods, in beautiful southern Oregon, it is particularly nice right now. It seems like spring is fast approaching, and I'm sort of reveling in that today.
Oh, it's trying to be winter.
I'm sorry.
We're just north of you. I don't know what the fuck, Washington.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, and it's definitely still cold, but there is sunshine. Maybe it is our proximity to California, the Golden State, but it's very nice here, and I truly hope that bodes well for better weather in the very near future for you.
Well, I just think Washington, why can't you be more like Oregon?
I don't know. There's some ways.
I think I'm going to get evicted for that.
Yeah, no. I mean, the thing is, we both have one up over Florida. That much we know. Florida, I mean, it's a different category.
Yeah, that's true.
Oregon and Washington are doing pretty well. I have some criticisms. There's some things in the state legislature that we probably should have gotten to that we didn't.
Yes, can I bring one of them up, please?
Please do.
That would be in my state legislature. We will not be discussing until next session, which is January 2025.
Wow.
Whether or not there should be a cap on rent. Yes, there should.
Absolutely.
It should be based on the median income of your county, and only maybe between 1 and 3% raise thereafter with each pending lease. But the rent is ridiculous. The reason why they do it, just because they can, is absolutely, oh God, it just gives me a headache. It gives me a migraine.
Yeah.
And why this continues, I do not know. My children, millennials and Gen Z and even Alpha, they are never going to own a home.
Yeah.
And now they're not going to be able to rent a home. So now it's not even, where millennials got flack for staying at home and living in their parents' basement.
Yeah.
Gen Z, there's no stigma. It's actually kind of cool because the reality is, yeah, we're going back to Little House on the Prairie where everybody lives in the same house. Generations of people.
Yeah. No, it's so darkly hilarious to me that a few years ago, certainly up until COVID, there were so many people who are either well-to-do or of a certain generation, boomers, or both, who were just like attacking younger people for not having the gumption or not having the get up and go or the drive.
They're lazy.
And they're just lazy and failing or deliberately ignoring the fact that fundamentally, economically, it is just not possible for people to live in the same way that you did in the 60s or 70s or even early 1980s. It is just not possible anymore.
Because we don't tax the rich.
Right.
Because the boomers grew up in a world where the rich were taxed close to their fair share. And guess what? There was money for stuff.
Yeah.
Their parents, who made a measly income by today's standards, afforded a house, a 2-car garage, a kid, a couple of kids. Their wife didn't work because of society, but even still, she didn't have to. And now that is just gone. And
by the way,
started the death of it, and now it's gone.
Let me just mention that they didn't work for pay. They worked plenty.
Oh, I do apologize.
They worked a shit ton, but they just didn't get,
I'm
paid
getting
for
kicked
it.
out of the feminist club too. I do apologize. I was a stay-at-home mom. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It is. It is a round-the-clock job. It is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the duration of their 18 years and beyond.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of work, and it is unpaid. And believe me, guys, you think that we're gold diggers? You couldn't afford to pay us what you would pay someone for the individual jobs that we do, managing the house, the children, appointment setting, managing the bills, cleaning the house, cooking the meals, doing all of the shopping, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And if you think about it, so many of the issues that we have in our political system and in our society today come back to that issue, which is either free or like super low cost labor. That's and there is the elite class that is trying to extract that as much as possible and derive wealth from that, and they're the people who are being exploited by those people, which is the vast majority of people, and it so much comes back to that same root. I mean, that is the beating heart of late stage capitalism, and it is uncushioned by any of the mechanisms that existed in the mid 20th century. As flawed as they were, they provided a buffer or a slight bulwark against the worst excesses of capitalism as we know it. And now those are pretty much gone. Those are almost non-existent now. And that's why we have moved into the stage that so many people refer to as late capitalism.
Because you have, the conspiracy is, that the government is run by blah, 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 but whatever. But you have lobbying, which is legal bribery. Yeah. And now it's just out of control. Yeah. And you have people who do not care about the safety of our children, the education of our children, the safety of our streets, the quality of our life, our ability to contribute. And look at the way that the rich are eating their nose despite their face, because jacking up prices on everything, and everyone just jacking up prices from your rent to your utilities to the things that you purchase to live, the gas, everything. It's going to become untenable. And in a lot of states, it's illegal to be homeless. Yeah. So there's going to be a real serious problem. And they don't have people who want to work for the pennies that they want to pay anymore. So we can't afford to buy their products. They're not going to want to take less of a bonus to make sure they have workers to keep their business going. But the problem is, to watch them eat themselves like an Ouroboros, we have to get caught between all of those gears. And folks, I just can't stress this enough. We need to start voting with our interest in mind. And if you don't see a candidate that fits your interest, think about running, or think about somebody that you might encourage to run, or get involved somehow yourself. Because democracy is not a spectator sport, but the president can't force a company to change the price of their item unless it is price gouging. So the government has limitations of what they can do.
Or in some cases, Kellogg's right now.
Well, yeah. But Kellogg's right now is feeling the pinch because people are just not buying their products. That's how we put this to bed. That's how we stop them. That's how we will stop, hopefully, Donald Trump from getting into office. That's how we will stop Republicans from threatening IVF and our rights, our fundamental rights, by not voting for them. We have to save ourselves is the motto of 2024. Yeah. It's the subtext that I don't think enough people are paying attention to. Totally. Our governments have failed us. Our representatives have failed us on both sides of the aisle. Yeah. Because last night I heard Biden talk about, if you reelect, I'm paraphrasing, if you reelect me, I will make sure that Roe v. Wade is the law of the land. Bitch, you had 50 years and you were in the Senate your goddamn self.
Yes.
You had 50 fucking years. You could have done it last week. You could have done it a year. Anytime you were in fucking office. Don't use mine and my children's uterus as a campaign talking point. Our bodies are not up for manipulation.
Yeah. This represents a fundamental failure of the primarily, and to some extent the Republicans do, but primarily the Republicans going to Republican. I mean, we know where they are, but the Democrats.
Yes, they put their rebuttal, a woman in a fucking kitchen.
Jeez.
That's where the fuck they are.
With the cross around the neck. And like,
yes, talking about raising kids and how difficult it is in this kind of country.
Yes, I think it was John Fugelsang that I saw online, friend of the show, and we have interviewed him before, who said that if you pan down, you will see that she is both barefoot and pregnant in that response to the State of the Nation address.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is enormously frustrating because, yes, we are in a position where we need to vote in order to stop the situation from being even worse. But we would not be in this position had the people who are requesting that help done their job to begin with. And you're right. They had not one generation, but 2 generations, 50 years in order to make it happen. France, they're on it now. I guess they said,
they did.
Shit, we better get something done.
They watched what's happening with IVF, and they decided, no. No, and you know what? The French people, they still stormed the Bastille. They've been doing it for over a year, over raising the retirement age from 62 to 64. Those people don't play. So they saw what was going on here with IVF, and they codified it into their constitution for the country, country.
Yeah, because it's possible in their functioning democracy for them to actually change the Constitution at this point. It's been, what? It's something along the lines of like 50 years since we've had a change to the Constitution. It takes 2/3 of each House of Congress and then the state legislatures of 3/4 of the states to make a change in the Constitution. That is so unimaginable in the current situation. For that to happen, think how many mountains would have to be moved. Frankly, it's amazing to me that it ever happened at all. But it actually did when there was like a collective political consensus, and that just doesn't exist in this country. That's what it would take. And so we've got so far to go. And you are right. We cannot depend on our government or parties. We need to depend on each other and connecting with one another and organizing within our workplaces and within our communities in order to make things happen. Because the system as it stands is not working at all.
For example.
Yeah.
I am so glad that Biden went out there and was warmly received and stood up for the workers, the unions. But let's not forget, he didn't start that. He wasn't about that. That's not his W.
Yeah.
Those people got together and decided to take a risk. Writers, actors, auto workers, hospitality workers in Las Vegas and many other avenues all over the country have decided they're going to take a risk in this economy and do what they know is right because that's their future and it's the only way. You can't get a corporation to do what's right until you force them to. Hit them where it hurts, and then they will stop and they will acquiesce. So it was the win of the people. So it's us. It's us that have been fighting for higher wages and winning, not them, us.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that Biden went out there and he was well received and all of that. But that is not his win. So again, we need to save ourselves.
Yeah.
We need to make a conscious decision and get out there and vote because this country is based on participation. And if you don't participate, I know it's a cliche, but our country is based on participation. Yeah. The amount of electors that go for your state go to the popular vote in your state. Yeah. So please get the electors out there for the person that you think best represents you. Taylor Swift said it best. It's not about partisanship. I personally am going to be voting Democrat with my nose, up, oh, I can't believe this because we have a situation where we can't talk about the issues. We can't talk about how much things cost and women's body